Right, guys, welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast, bringing you some bonus content between Game Week 31 and Game Week 2. My name's Adam, as always, joined by Baker. Evening, mate. How are you?
Bonus content. It's the stuff we like. We basically, Mark Sothers has just announced on Black Box that he's now going to work for FPL. So we thought we'd give him some subject matter.
Exactly that. Exactly that. Just some initial feedback, just to go with. Just
some initial feedback.
Just to land. He's just going to walk in on day one with a big list of stuff to look at. Yeah. But I'm sure he knows what he's getting himself in for. So congratulations to Mark for getting
Congratulations to Mark.
That's amazing.
It's amazing news in the industry. It's amazing news to have somebody that's like what we consider to be part of the game to actually be part of the game is fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing this from us,
go look at
Black Box and watch the last 10-15 minutes, and he can tell you that because we've just spoiler alerted it.
I was just talking directly to Mark there. Go fix the bonus. But yeah, no. So the bonus. So this is not going to be one of the big like team by team jobbies. I think I said it in the last pod. Like the most important thing now for us, that everyone is to literally focus on the fixtures and focus on the doubles, because that's the stuff that's going to get you through. This one is more about like what have we really seen in each position and kind of who are the big winners and who are the big losers. I mean, there are some quite obvious ones, but yeah, really, who are the big winners and losers and what it kind of means.
Yeah, and to take back, we've already done 2 bonus pods this season, and we did one at the start of the season to say what we thought might happen, and then we started looking at it, what would have been about game week 10 or so. We did it when we started to look at what we'd seen so far. And our expectation was, well, it's quite a logical expectation. You give extra for shots and you take off points for goals conceded, it's going to push it all forward. So, spoiler alert, that's what you're about to see, is that it has pushed it forward. And we looked at this international break and was like, should we do what we normally do, go for the team by teams? And we looked at it was like, and you kindly did all that work of pulling all that data and looking at it. And I went to the first team and I went, oh, went to the next team. Oh, went to the next. Oh, I don't know if there's a story here. So we've sat on it. We've looked at it. We've thought, how can we take it through in a probably a more concise and shorter way, but I feel it's probably important to show that story because we're complete nerds, like on bonus points. I think that's pretty fair to say, but not everyone is. Yeah. So this gives an opportunity maybe to share some of the things that we've been probably me and you see every day because we look at them incessantly. But maybe
I'm
not everybody else does.
To be fair though, I'm not the pervert that looks at fucking passes in the 80th minute during a game. That's you.
We don't have to look at them as much as we used to. It doesn't matter. Perfectly. It's all there now.
Yeah,
just score a goal.
Yes, just be a striker, score a goal, and it's good. And it's good. So kind of format really is really quite short. We're gonna have a look at like basically the number of players per position that are over 0.5 bonus. So basically is to say they're more likely to score bonus points than not.
Yeah.
In theory. Then we've got basically how that compares season to season and who are the players that are impacted. Basically looking at the top guys. It couldn't really go above half a bonus point because it includes lots of different positions, etc. And then go through each position and just see what does it mean? What has it done? But before we do that, shout out to anyone who's actually joined us in the chat. I don't know how many people are with us today. Not too many, I'd imagine, because there is the Champions League on, and that's fair enough. But hopefully you're catching it. If you're catching it on the way back, then or after the Champions League, then shout out to you. And if you do enjoy this content, make sure you drop a like on the video. And if you want to see more from us, hit subscribe. The shorts have been coming back out again. Found some time to get those.
Not the ones on our legs because it's cold.
I've got shorts on. I'm good.
Have you?
Mate, it's like it's going to be 20 degrees up here tomorrow.
Blimey.
Yeah.
It's freezing down my way.
Oh, no. No, it's all good. It's all good up here, and kids have been out and everything today. So, yeah. And where was I? I was doing admin stuff, which means
Oh,
if you want to support
so
us,
this is more like evergreen. We're also saying that. So that there is a point to that. Is that all of our content mostly is really really short, and it's dead. like it's dead in 2 days. This won't be dead before the deadline. This will play out for the rest of the season. So if you do watch this and you do like it, these are the sort of ones where we do really appreciate if you give us feedback, you retweet it, and or what do they call it on Blue Sky?
don't know. Does it have a name?
Reskeet it. I think they would call it
What?
skeets. I heard people call them skeets
No,
rather than tweets.
that's not a real thing.
That's a real thing.
No wonder nobody's over
Skeets. um, but yeah, all of that stuff's really really appreciated.
there. Looks like Kvarat Scalia's scored an absolute worldie apparently.
Yeah.
So Villa are losing. Yeah, we say this is generally going to be kind of evergreen content, and then Mark's going to change the bonus at the start of next season, so we're all going to rip it up again. But that's all good.
We'll claim credit.
Cool. And yeah, if you want to support us over on Patreon, patreon.com/above average FPL, we plug that every week. So won't spend too long on that. And let's move on to the headline, basically. So for anyone listening, so looking at per position and looking at the season, this season versus last season, we knew, and it is obviously very important in football, in FPL, to score goals, right? That is very, very important to do.
Yeah.
And that's not new information. So last year, there were 2 keepers that had over half a bonus per start. There were 6 defenders, 16 mids, and 11 forwards. And we'll have a look at a few of those on the next slide in a minute. That's changed considerably to 0 keepers. So keepers are just dead from a bonus perspective. Like your Nick Pope, Burnley 10-pointers, they're basically they're very, very, very rare now.
Yeah.
I see Flecken got one at the weekend, but defenders just because these guys are just getting pummeled with these -4s when they concede goals. And I was looking at and this is slightly old data, but it remains true anyway, really. But if based on after 28 games, right, Flecken's baseline was like 13.6. If you take off the fact that he conceded on average 1.5 goals a game, his baseline would have been 19.7. Like he's an active keeper. He's like the best keeper in the game. Last season.
As long as they clean.
As long as they clean. Like, yeah, that's true. Yeah. As long as they clean, he's the best keeper in the game. But then that's still the case. That's still the case, really. They do just have to clean. And I guess there's been a bit of game dynamics that have changed, extra minutes and, more tired, more fatigued players with more games. All sorts of things have just contributed to more goals and less cleans. Yeah. Well, not even more goals, just less cleans.
Oh, I don't think there is less cleans as such. So last season, 4 teams got into double digits on cleans last season. 4 teams have already got into double digits on cleans this season. So you can't even be like, oh, well, it's one of the reasons defenders and keepers have just got worse. It's because they're cleans. The actual level of cleans is all right. It's a bit more spread out than it was previously, because obviously last season we had Arsenal just ripping it apart. Like Arsenal last season with 18 cleans. But Liverpool had 10 cleans last season. They've already had 13 cleans this season.
Even
we've obviously got Forest coming in. Yeah. Unbelievably, Chelsea have had as many cleans this season as they had last season.
That's mad. I mean, Sells is up there, isn't he? Forest are up there.
But he still ain't smashing it, is he?
No, but I looked at this a couple of days ago, and since Christmas, the only teams with a worse XGC than them are Leicester, Southampton, and Ipswich. They're the only 3 teams since the start of in 2025 so far.
2025 has not been kind to Forest as an elite defence. They're not. Their XGC compete just for the season now. Forest are 7th or 8th now.
Yeah,
but they had 13 cleans.
Yeah, helps you get points on the board. I mean, they've won as many games as Arsenal as well.
Yeah,
this is mad. So yes, it's all very much pushed forward. It's all very much, the big increase is in forwards, for sure.
Yeah, 11 last season, 17 this season. That's pretty big. And there's
Do you think there's a way
bizarrely,
teams are attacking? There's a way teams that are attacking now as well is a little bit different, which is not bringing
I
so many
definitely think
defenders
that.
into play.
I definitely think that. So I think before we even like look at some actual players, because I think as soon as we put players on the screen, people are like, "Oh, I'm just looking at the players. Like, I'm going to see what's on there." But I think when you think about this, where one of the reasons why you shouldn't muck about with things like the bonus points and the old system we had is you can't predict how teams are going to change how they play. You can't predict like new styles of tactic, new styles of formation. Like that's not what the same guy that's making the bonus points is doing.
Mm.
Um, but what we have seen is obviously a lack of your flying, overlapping fullbacks. So we don't see as many of those assists that we would have seen, and those that still do those do okay on the bonus when we still get to those points. But teams in general are are getting better at defending. I think that what we've seen is a real closeness between like second place or even third place, should we say, and like 10th place. It's pretty it's pretty close. Um, then what we've also seen is it's really, really hard for defenders to get bonus when teams are playing Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton
Well, yeah,
because
because they score because the team ends up scoring 3, 2, 3, 4 goals against them, and that
you need
means
to have an involvement.
you need to be involved. Yeah, I do also. I mean, not only you say the style, the sort of the overlapping. I mean, the reason these guys don't overlap and stuff anymore is because they're the ones taking the goal kicks.
Yeah.
Like their starting patterns of play 5 yards from their own goal line, so it's very difficult to then create a scenario where you're transitioning through the
Yeah.
pitch and you're getting around the side of your wingers. Right, it doesn't really happen. You have to do that more in build up, and
Mm.
the teams that we're seeing that are sort of overperforming at the moment, like your Palaces and your Fulhams, that are so good countering, like they're not involved in build up. So you can see why we still think about players like Vardiol as particularly as a left back, because we still expect him to be at that end of the pitch. Like, and in
Yeah.
some ways as well, like he's not a pick, right? But people like Jed Spence who get round that left hand side, but they're the kind of guys that you could have as picks because they're driving into the box and making crosses and all this sort of stuff. But because most teams aren't doing this, like there just doesn't seem to be any there doesn't seem to be any appetite to do it from an attacking point of view. And as you said, like defensively, teams are more apt to that kind of attack
Yeah.
now. And the pitch is much bigger. Like the pitch just because, as I say, because everything starts on your own goal line now, the pitch is just much bigger.
Yeah. It was weird the other night. So Livermento got in behind and put the cross. I was like, oh my God. But then it's probably because he's playing Leicester.
And you can build up against Leicester. You don't have to smash them on the break, right?
Yeah.
They're just bad.
But yeah, if anything, what we've seen is some underlaps, haven't we? And Bradley obviously got the assist last week to Diaz from an underlap. Those sort of things happen. But yeah, it's not looking good. And I guess from an FPL perspective, they've either gone, we didn't like the old model because almost the person that we were giving free bonus points didn't line up to the one that was happening on TV. Because that's something we've talked about is if there's a game and it's 1-0, almost always on telly, the person who scored that 1-0 goal gets them out of the match.
Yeah.
So it works. Unless it was a really, incredible rearguard action, that person that scored the goal is going to get them out of the match. Well, that's what happens now. That's Chris Wood, in a nutshell, what we've seen from him this season. So maybe this was a tactical move from FPL that they moved towards we'll just replicate a little bit more that it makes sense to people, to the common person that those that score goals will get bonus.
But
But for
can
us, it was like quite a nuance to the game that everyone loved. These defenders that were so good on the bonus, and the keepers that, yes, they'll get some extra saves and they'll get the bonus, but they won't, necessarily be. So therefore you could take on the likes of the Edisons and Allison. Well, Edison's been pretty all around, but Edison certainly.
I mean,
It was fun.
Conversely, we've yeah, exactly. Conversely, I've seen people. I mean, this is obviously just like small Twitter bubble, whatever. But I've seen people complaining. Like, I mean, the clear, obvious example is James Justin scores twice against Arsenal. I think in like game week 7 or 8 in a 4-2 defeat. Nowhere near the bonus because he's got -16 on his baseline and plus 24.
I'm just going to try and see if I can get this up. But the game last week, and that's one of the things that sort of actually prompted me to say we should probably talk about this because people don't think.
Is this Munoz?
Don't think that it's Munoz.
Yeah, Munoz, nowhere near it. But then even like, I mean, I know it's not FPL, but from a Sorare perspective, he got basically the minimum score. Like he got the minimum score you could get because he's wasteful. He lost a bunch of duels. He was just like generally quite wasteful. So that's why he doesn't get it because his all round bits. And he gets hurt because he has -4. I mean, I don't know what he finished on compared to like obviously Welbeck, obviously 3 bonus.
He was actually nowhere near.
Yeah,
he was nowhere near. So he actually wouldn't have got bonus even on the old system. I don't think because 2 strikers scored in a game.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
And then a midfielder got 2
assists.
2 assists.
Yeah.
So, and some of the bits that people probably don't necessarily take into consideration is one of the reasons why strikers only get 4 points for a goal is they get more bonus, and one of the reasons why defenders get 6 points for a goal is they get less bonus for it, and so but everyone wants the cake and eat it. I want my 6 points for the goal, but I also want the bonus as well. So maybe what they wanted to do FPL was give a bit more to forwards because 4 points for a goal isn't as good as 5 points for a goal or 6 points for a goal. But then my question about it is, if you're just going to give bonus for goals, why don't you just change the points for goals and get rid of bonus points?
Yeah, it does. That could be it.
Like what? Like if it's not going to be intricate, if it's just going to be that what you get is extra bonus for goals, then just make forwards points 5 for a goal. Just give 1 point extra for a goal for all populations.
Yeah,
and bin it off completely.
Yeah. That is a way.
I don't really get it.
I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure earlier on in the season, Alon and Walsh did a bit where they said like FPL is the only game where you get extra points for doing the stuff that you're supposed to do in the game anyway.
Yeah,
it's
exactly what. Yeah,
like strikers are supposed to score goals. It's
never been more true.
Strikers are supposed to score goals, so they get 4 points, but no, they actually get 3 extra points. So actually, a goal is worth 7 points.
Yeah, and if they score another goal, well, that doesn't matter as much. Why?
Yeah, exactly.
I think the way they've done it makes the actual having bonus points. I don't really get it anymore. I'm like, well, maybe you should just give different points for goals.
Bin the bonus points. Well, that's the end of the pod, then, isn't it? Shit.
End of this pod, mate. Think of the saves, data gathering, and stuff that we do in this world.
Yeah. Right. Should we have a look at the players?
Yeah. Go on then.
So yeah, there's Chris Wood. he's obviously a massive beneficiary of this. I mean, last season he was absolutely flying anyway. So just quickly reel off last season. So what we can see is 6 midfielders in this top, what is it, 15?
Top 15.
Top 15. So there's 6 midfielders in there. There's 5 strikers and there's 4 defenders. That's good maths, Adam.
6,
Working finance. So yeah. Palmer at the top, 1.1 per start. Wood, 1 per start. Haaland, 1 per start. Then you've got Foden, Pascal Gross, Isak, Saka, Zinchenko, Mateta, Salah. Yeah, all the way down. The defenders in there are like Reguilon, Mad, and Trippier and Trent, and then Odegaard.
Yeah. So you used to see a mix of strikers were good for it, talisman man type midfielders that took set pieces like Gross and Palmer were good for it, and Saka was good for it. The defenders, which had loads of good creativity or did that funky inversion like Zinchenko did and stuff like that, Reguilon, Trippion, Trippier, Trent, they all had it. Odegaard, similar to what we talked about. They were, yes, they're good for it, but they're also good for it, and they're good for it, and they're good for it. We go now to this year.
Let me read them out again. So Salah, 1.65 per start. I mean, to be fair, that's just a product of unreal output, to be fair.
It is, but actually, what anyone can look at, and here they look at the screen, in every single position, 1 to 15, the bonus points per start are inflated this season versus last. So unless you have had a bit of a stinker of a season, for doing exactly the same, you've got more.
Yeah. And there's only two clubs there where there's a duplicate. Like,
yeah, Welbeck and João Pedro you've got.
And then Salah and Gakpo. But in position, yeah, João Pedro and Welbeck, that's it. But yeah, Salah, Cunha, Wood, Isak, Palmer, and Saka, all 1 and above. And then João Pedro, Haaland, Watkins, Welbeck, Mateta, Gakpo, Wissa, Raul Jimenez, and then Bruno Fernandes at the bottom of that at 0.83 at the bottom, which is pretty high. And
4 mids, 11 forwards.
Yeah.
So from 6 mids last season, 6 mids, 5 strikers, 4 defenders to 11 strikers, 4 mids.
Yeah, and this is like going back to the question that I asked you during that game week 29 when we were having a look at it, and it was a case of like how many of defenders and keepers were there that had scored more than half a bonus point per season, and it was crazy. I'm scrambling to try and find that message now, but where did I put it? It was crazy.
A couple of game weeks in, so we got a few different ones in there, but
yeah,
the basics are strikers now. I mean, strikers basically are almost starting at 3 points per game. Like it's silly. Score, you're going to get bonus.
Yeah,
you might not get them all, but you're going to get something.
Yeah. So there was six at the time. There were 16 strikers and 17 midfielders, averaging over half a bonus point per game. I asked you how many defenders and keepers combined, and the answer was 5, and none of them were keepers. It's just all completely gone forward.
Yes.
But that's so from a bonus perspective, are we just looking like we're literally just focusing on cleans? Like, really, we're just looking on purely cleans. Well, I say purely cleans. Attacking output is so difficult to predict for defenders.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I guess that's the point on this one is you do kind of need cleans to get bonus if you're a defender, and you somehow need to, if you're a keeper, you need to somehow get some saves in whilst also cleaning. And it's like, these things are hard. It's not that people aren't getting bonus. Let's put that out there. Is there are bonus still happening for defenders? We've got, like, Morello's got the most this season on 16. Einer's got 15. So those Forest guys have done all right. Saliba's got 14. Trent's got 13. Vardiol and Howson have got 11. Sells has got 11. Hall was doing very well until obviously he got injured. He got 11. So it's not like there's no bonus, but it's almost likely to come as you'll get free bonus in this one game, and there's these specific factors that happen that meant that you got it and didn't. So we had one the other week, didn't we, like Timber, where he got 2 bonus because he came off after, and then they conceded in the 94th minute.
Yeah.
Game week 30, I think that was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So some of those things, like, it's like you need really weird specific factors to mean that you get them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even with cleans, it's actually quite unpredictable. It's just a lot more unpredictable, I think.
So just guess stick with good defend. Like it is a case of stick with good defenses and stick with those with the best chance of literally attacking output,
I
which is
think the other
not
thing is
which is
if you
not any
bench
different.
if you bench a striker and he scores, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what you do know.
yeah. I mean, it definitely yeah, it definitely plays into like 50-50s, like play the attacker. Like
Yeah, more so than ever.
it's not even a choice anymore. 3-4-3-3-5-2. Keep it at that.
Yeah.
Um, did you want to run through the positions? I mean, if anyone has any questions in the chat, I mean, there's only a few of you in the chat this evening, which is nice. So if you do have questions, then please just drop them in there, and we'll see if we can answer them. Make them around about the bonus. Don't ask us whether I should wildcard in game week 32. That's not really the purpose of this pod.
Nah.
It'd be good.
Let's do the positions.
So yeah, so looking at keepers. So last year we had two, Pickford and Martinez, both over half a bonus per start. Miracle, seeing as how few clean sheets Villa actually kept.
I think I've got a feeling Emmy saved like 2 penalties or something.
Probably helps.
Yeah.
Probably helps. I think I had him for a pen save last year as well.
Yeah.
Would I have one this year? Probably both. But yeah, below that, I mean, just lots of the keepers that we would expect to see, really. So,
yeah,
your Lenos, your Sanchez, Areola, Johnston, those kind of guys.
I think in general, when I look at it, when you look at keepers and look at this, you're like, it's not that good anyway. Like there's normally one or two magic keepers, but on the whole, keepers don't give you a lot of bonus. A lot less than you think. I think we just remember it because normally when they get bonus, they also get saves. So
Yeah, that
you
definitely was
remember
previous.
it. You remember it when it's like, oh, I made 6 saves and I got top bonus and now I've got 11 points. Like that feels so wonderful in your team. Because people make less transfers as well in keepers. Yeah, the ownership's always quite spread out, isn't it? So your keeper's normally only like 34% owned, like whatever keeper you've got in the world. It's really rare that there's a keeper that's like 80-90% owned, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's normally like this season we've seen like Sells 20% owned and Raya's been like 30% owned and Pickford 30-40% owned and in the likes of Flecker and all those sorts of guys is but the ownership's always a little bit more spread. So when you get them, the 10 pointers, they mean more to you. You remember them. But actually when you look at it, you're like, oh, they don't get a huge amount of bonus anyway. There's some interesting ones. Areola, for example, I'm looking at bench boost Areola against Southampton, and I'm like, oh, Areola hasn't got a bonus point this season. 19 games.
It's incredible.
19 games.
Look at Sells, like season on season. Like keepers have been punished in this format. Sells has gone from 0.06 to 0.36 per start or 3.5 per start.
Our whole thing at the start of the season, why do we not pick back Sells, was he was like -8 on expected goals last season.
Yeah. We also thought Carlos Miguel was going to come in.
I was so convinced I'm big King Carlos. God, what a long season. I completely forgot about Carlos. I never would have even given him a second.
We were never going to go Sells because we wanted that big 6'9" keeper that Forest had that we've never seen. He played once in a friendly and we were like, yes.
What a mad world that our friend Danny, who literally coined a meme about Edison, about the fact of preferring keepers that get saves and bonus. Edison's actually got the highest bonus per start of all keepers this season.
There he is.
It's mad.
He is.
Yeah.
It is pretty sad. Like it is just. It's not.
It is pretty sad, but it's weird, isn't it, to have. You've got. So. In the top 6, you've got 5 of the keepers from the top 5 in the league currently.
Yeah, just the best because they clean more.
So therefore, it's like almost. Do we have to spend more on keepers next season if they keep it this way?
Well, I think this season feels more, like in years gone by. We've always kind of gone like 4-5-4-5 or 4-5 and dead because we tend to have this one keeper that comes up and just like because Pickford was 4-5 last year. I think was he? Maybe he wasn't 4-5 last year, but like Pickford went up to 5 either last season or this season. We were like, whoa, that's really annoying.
Yeah.
And there were no real like good. Well, it didn't feel like there were any good 4-5 picks this year because like the best one out there was probably Matt Sells, for which we've already just explained. Everyone else was like 5 million above, so that's why everyone just went, well, fuck it. Like Arsenal have the best defense, so let's start with Raya, and I think that's where people went at the start, myself included, I think, and that's how it kind of just happened. So we did end up spending a bit more, and we ended up just dumping on Fabianski / Areola because they were the cheapest, or Fabianski was like 4, and I don't. Yeah, Peter Tisdale saying a few assists have helped Edison. Yes, it's true. He's had like 2 or 3 assists this season, which has obviously helped.
Yeah, the top 6 are from the top 6 teams that have cleaned the most.
Yeah, there you go.
It is like actually quite simple now. Like so if you want to have good bonus, and it's almost like again. So what you could then do is give a bit more points for a clean.
Just give an extra point for a clean.
Keeper. So why don't we just, or if we're giving a big extra point for everything, why don't we just get rid of bonus?
Just get rid of bonus completely. Yeah.
FML did this section in a lot shorter than we did then.
Yeah.
We've done this in 10 seconds. Just get it gone.
Yeah.
It's made it a bit, well, what's the point? The ones that get the most cleans also get the most bonus. Okay. Don't bother learning that stuff of who gets to saves and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, defenders. So there's loads of defenders, so you can't like go all the way to the bottom on this and look at stuff. So this is just the top, similar to what we did the top 15 overall. This is the top 15 defenders last season to this season. And again, before you go through the names, what you can see, every single position on this map here are 15 players. This season, the top one is worse than the top one last season. The second is worse than the second last season. The third is worse than the third, blah, 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 all the way down to the 15th. So it's not just a little bit. Everybody's had a cut.
Yeah. And then you look at the players, and we look at the players on the left-hand side, so 23, 24. And I run through them in order, and you just think of where they play on the pitch more than anything. I think Zinchenko, Reguilon, Trippier, Trent, Porro, Gusto, Lindelof. Then we see a centre-back. Well, Lindelof's kind of a centre-back. Senesi, Stupinan, Vardiol, and then Romero, Robertson, Kyle Walker, Thiago Silva, and then Ben White. And then this season, Howson, Murillo, top 2.
Yeah.
Mad. Then Trent, because Trent is Trent, so that's fine. Then Aina and Saliba. Ashley Young. Didn't expect to see him up there. Didn't he have like an 18-pointer? I think that may come. I think he had an 18-pointer.
Can he get he might put bonus in one game though, mate?
Yeah, it's true. Well, how many games has he started?
Enough
to get in here. Spence, Hall, Chalobah, Vardiol, Veltman, Timber, Kukurea, Wan-Bissaka, and Gehi as well. But yeah, Howson tops at like 0.55. That would have put him 6th last year. So it's not like he's doing bad stuff, right? And he's like almost just slightly better than Senesi was last year. So he's coming in a similar position and basically doing similar stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But Ina's up there because he scored a bunch at the start of the year. Or assisted. Yeah. He's had a few returns in there, plus Forest cleans. And he did it in games where he cleaned as well, which obviously just spikes him to the top.
Yeah. Ina and Murillo have been they've been pretty good on baseline. They are good in baseline just in general, and obviously Forest just on loads of cleans, so that helps. And we're only scoring a goal from one forward, so all those things.
They pick up lots of twos. You can pick up lots of twos doing that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so quite a motley crew almost. Some of those ones. Someone said Spence Hall sounds like a posh place. It does. Dan Burke said that. But yeah, he 17 starts for Young. He's been off the bench. He's played 27 times, 10 times off the bench. 17. I should probably clarify that for anyone that's new here. We only look at the bonus when players start. So we don't do it per 90. We don't do it just in total. Like it sways it weirdly. If you do it per 90, then it starts to make players that have dragged off all the time look better. And if you do it like just overall, well, it's a lot harder to get bonus when you've come off the bench. You can't get as many things as what you would. So what we look at is what the bonus is when that player started, because they then had the best chance they possibly could to achieve it. But yeah, just in general, I don't know. The funny thing is the quality of some of these players. There's some big guys on that left hand side that have really dropped off. Is obviously Trippier. Is probably one that was like a darling of it. Like obviously, I was really tempted with Trippier a couple of weeks ago, and I've lucked out by sticking with Livramento so far. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, Porro obviously was one where I was like, I've talked ad nauseum about. I want him in my team forever and ever. Well, that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Robertson, when I was at the downfall, I did listen to FML this week where they pointed out that Robertson's had 0 goal involvements this season.
Wow.
Like, what?
That's mad.
And Ben White's obviously been injured a lot of it. So,
Yeah.
and Thiago Silva's no longer, well, he is still alive, but he's no longer in the league. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. Somebody's asked about where's Gabriel. So I'm just having a quick check. So when I did my data in game week 29, he was on 0.33 per game or per start. And I think he started one more game. So he's just below it.
Yeah, he got 9 bonus in 28. So just under 0.33.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of like
in Gabriel, 60 odd million, 6 million.
6 million, yeah.
0.32.
But we keep saying we need to get him for his. Oh well, I mean he's obviously injured now, so that doesn't really help. It was his goal threat.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. His goal threat went off. His goal threat went off of the.
Well, it went off when Saka got injured a little bit.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the last 5 games that he played, he had 0.1 xG total.
Yeah.
It's not very good. Not very good for 6 million.
No. Maybe we just look for the 4.5s. Maybe so there are some thoughts for us for next season is, do you spend more on keepers and spend less on defenders? Maybe. Let's go mids.
Deal. Mids. So this is everyone who's had over half a bonus per start from this season and last season. Quite frankly, these are the guys that have great output. Combined with some create, there is creativity here, but as soon as they get a return, like they're on it, they're up there, they're involved.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talisman here.
Historically, I'd have said there were more talisman normally in those ones. There's still always going to be those guys, but we're definitely seeing more wingers than we've ever seen in this world of one. So last season, we've already mentioned some of these guys, but Palmer, Foden, Gross, Saka, Salah, Odegaard, some Doku was in there. So it wasn't like we were out wingers. We had Doku, we had Hudson-Odoi, and we had Semenyo was in there. But you had a lot of these, the guys that you'd be like, they're a crap pick, but they get bonus. So Prowse was one of those. Rodri, we could probably put in that category. Doug Luiz, Bernardo Silva, Odegaard, to an extent. These were guys that always had relatively good baselines because they did a lot, and they popped up with goals either because they were on set pieces or just they did pop up with the odd goals, and it was enough to consistently chip away at bonus. But those guys have been hammered this season. Obviously, Rodri couldn't do much about it. On here, but we got no equivalents this season of your Odegaard, your Bernardo. I mean, we haven't got them at all. Those players still exist, and they're not here. But we haven't got this year's Doug Luiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't got the Ward Prowses anymore. We haven't got the Rodris. And players that were never ever getting in them. The Brennan Johnson. Like Brennan Johnson has higher bonus per start than Son this season.
I mean, he scored more goals, has he not? That's probably why.
I bet he's had less goal involvement though. In general for him, his son's good on the assists and so forth. But players like Madueke, players like Brennan Johnson, even we've seen recently, Savinho obviously get top with just an assist. Like, these are all bumped up by these guys will likely have a couple of shots a game. So if you add 2 to 4 on their baseline every time, makes it big.
Yeah.
Makes it big. Peter just said in the chat about Ahmad being fifth, but hey, when he was playing wing back, he used to get tackles in. It'd get the shots, it'd get the crosses. He was scoring, but it'd also get tackles tracking back.
Yeah. Talk about routes to points. But yeah, a lot of these. Points. I mean, if you think of like Madueke and Brennan's probably not the best example of this, but Savinho, Diaz, Maddison, in particular, all these three guys, Smith Rowe to an extent, Soboslai, these guys love like a pot shot, right? They love a pot shot, which is just, as you say, like a +2 on the baseline, hit the target, doesn't have to be very hard, doesn't have to be particularly troubling for the keeper, and it just ticks over. It just adds so that when they do get that one does go correct, it goes right, then they're just a shoo-in. Whereas what used to be, that's kind of replacing, it's kind of nullifying the ones that create the big chance. So like Bruno, let's say like KDB, for example, would create big chances. And he could create enough big chances for enough players that it would negate any issues with people having lots and lots of shots. Yeah. But now, the person having lots and lots of shots is the one that's going to benefit the most when they return, even if it combines for another return for another player.
Because even if he gets 3 for his big chance created, just the fact that the person scored for having the shot on target, they get 2.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just
The one that literally only just occurred to me that we've completely forgot was, do you remember what the other change was they did on bonus at the start of the season?
Fouled. Yeah, players that get fouled a lot.
And who gets fouled most?
Madison. More than anyone.
More than anyone. Well, Bruno G. He loves it.
I don't know where that stat is, but it should. I mean, like, it's ridiculous that it's not on the fantasy app, seeing as it's actually part of it.
I think Scout do have it actually, but wingers get fouled.
Yeah, because they run. Yeah,
Madueke gets fouled. Savinho gets fouled. Brennan gets fouled. Ismail Assar gets fouled. Is all these Alanga gets fouled. These wingers now, they're becoming better than what they previously were as assets. That's why we're more comfortable with them, probably more than we've ever been.
I've got it here. So Bruno G, this is fucking nuts, actually. Bruno G fouled 92 times this season.
It's absurd. He's just an awful person. Just puts himself in the right place.
James Maddison on second, 59.
Yeah. How does this happen? Last season he was over 100, wasn't he? And he's going to do it again.
John McGinn 59, Anthony Gordon 58, Cunha 58. Like Cunha's a striker, so Cunha just gets fouled. He takes shots on target. He's creative and he scores goals. Like, he's literally the perfect guy. I know we're talking about mids right now, but like, he's perfect.
Perfect.
Like, Palmer hasn't had anywhere near as many returns this season as he has last year.
I mean, that
54
that
fouls.
Thing of changing it that you get fouled.
I don't know where it came from. Yeah, I mean,
that was nuts. But look what it's done. Look what it's done. Look at these wingers just come flying in. All these guys you just said, they're suddenly just better. Forwards get fouled all the time.
Yeah.
Wingers get fouled all the time. The players that are most likely to score goals are also the players most likely to get fouled. That's why
Mhm.
you foul them.
92 fouls. That came from StatMuse, so statmuse.com. But yeah, that's mental. That's just
Yeah.
literally mental.
So
Strikers?
let's go for let's do strikers and we're
Now, this is pretty difficult graphic to see because there's quite a lot of strikers. But again, like similarly to the keepers, you kind of only really have so many in this player pool that you kind of need to look at more of them.
so these are all the strikers that played more than 15 games, both last season and this. So first thing you can see is there are less strikers this season that have played more than 15 games. There is time to go, obviously.
Yeah.
So this was the end of last season. There's still 7, 8 games for some teams. How many? 6 or 7? 6 or 7 games.
7.
7 or 8. It's 7 or 8. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 7 or 8 actually because I'm out of doubles. So there's still plenty of players that can get in there, but hey, you look at some of the guys. Probably Adam Armstrong's probably one that he's only needs one more game and he'd be on this list. But you're like, I'm not sure he's going to play another game. um, there are quite a few where you're like, I'm not sure they're going to get there. But in general, what you can then see is if you take that over zero point 0.5 is what we consider to be the good mark. Well, less than half those guys last season got past that mark. Whereas this season, only 4 strikers are not past that mark.
Yeah.
That is, and it's pretty obvious in the guys. Well, I'm not sure we'd have said one of them would have been obvious, but it's Vardy, Hoyland, Solanke, and Calvert-Lewin. Now, you would have expected it to be Hoyland and Calvert-Lewin. Everyone's talked a lot about the fact that they haven't scored enough. Solanke is probably shows a little bit that just hasn't shot enough.
Yeah.
We see week in, week out, we see him work exceptionally hard, but the shot volume is never there. And the goals tally's not been there. And Vardy plays for a team. Vardy's managed to get 0.45 out of a team that has basically scored 1 goal this year.
Sam Carr says Adam Armstrong is on loan at West Brom. So yeah, he's probably not going to get in there.
Adam Armstrong's not going to get past 15.
And yeah, Vardy's not in last year because Leicester weren't here last year.
No. But this year, I'm saying 0.45 is pretty. I think it's pretty impressive from Vardy.
From him, yeah.
0.4,
But then
like,
yeah, they've won. They've won a
he
couple
plays
of
for a
games.
team that concede 4 goals a game.
Yeah. Yeah. Just has to be conceding them from like 3 separate midfielders, and he comes in with a consolation and takes up 2 bonus.
But everybody else is on it, and the players that haven't quite played 15 games for the strikers, when they join in, they will. So I think Muniz isn't in there yet.
Nope.
But he will be by the end of the season, and he's comfortably there for players that haven't played that many games. So Marmoush could still get there. He's only played 8 games, so yeah, he could play 7 more. But Marmoush is averaging 1.1. Yeah. Muniz is averaging 0.57.
So it is kind of like get bench boost out of the way, then go 3-4-3.
I think it's 3-4-3. Well, look, I'm very biased. If anyone's known my Twitter is FPL 343 because I love the formation more than anything else. So, yeah, I think if you're gonna pick a midfielder over a striker, they've got to be good. They've got to be good because it's still been a little bit of a bump for the mids. It's not that mids have got worse. Mids have got better, and strikers have got better. But defenders and keepers have got worse. So, like, if you're going to have defenders, you want them to clean, because they're the only ones that are getting the bonus. Are the good
Are the
cleaners.
ones that clean. Yeah.
From a striker perspective, yeah, guys. Isak's at 1.22 per start. So effectively, for those looking at triple captaincy this week, he's got 2.5 points before he starts, on top of his 4 appearance points if you think he's going to play both games. So he should get 6.5 points just from turning up.
20 points locked in. 19, something like that. He should do. I mean, it does. It does tell me. It does say to me as well. Like as soon as, like, once doubles are out the way, I just feel like I might just get Cunha in just to get him in.
If he's playing.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. If he's playing, just get him just straight back in. Just because. If you get him if you get him for 5 games.
What if he punches somewhere else?
Well, then you take him out. But that's. You can't legislate for that. But if you bring him in and you get like 6 games out of him, 6 fixtures, and you're getting 1.4, let's call it, per start, that's an extra 8.5 points just for you. Just guaranteed 2 goals.
But who are you bringing him in for? Because the guy you're bringing him in for was also pretty good at it. Like, you bring him in for Mateta, and Mateta's getting 0.89. This is one of the things on the strikers. It's actually like, whichever striker you take out, they're going to do well too. You've seen it this season. You had Mateta and Wissa and moved them back and forth a little bit and done that stuff.
They've kind of just matched each other anyway.
Yeah, because they're all good.
It kind of just doesn't matter.
To an extent, like, as long as you get one of the good strikers, they're going to be good.
It's probably okay.
When you look at the likes of, obviously, João Pedro there was a sub £6 million striker earning 0.95 bonus every time he steps on the pitch at the start, at least. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wissa at 0.85. Raul Jimenez at 0.83, even though he comes off on 70 minutes every game. And Jai, Evan Nilsson, 0.7. Like, Liam Delap playing for a potential team that are going to go down is going to walk away with over 3/4 of a bonus point per game.
Yeah, only 5 players would have been better than him last season.
Yeah. Spartan to just point out, obviously, Cunha versus for 34. Yeah, if you're free hitting on 34, Cunha's, and he's playing.
Yeah, he's just in.
Just in. Well, it's probably captain material. Probably Isak's also got a very good game that week. To Ipswich.
What to do? Yeah, so that's basically what we've got on the bonus. As I say, didn't really need to give it the full whack. We thought we'd do a nice short podcast. It's basically been an hour anyway, because that's what we do.
Give bonus to the guys that put the ball in the net, whether they're a midfielder, whether they're a striker.
Well, not necessarily if they're a defender, though.
Not necessarily if they're a defender. And even if they clean, not necessarily, because the guy that's shooting and guy and getting fouled is still getting loads of extras.
Yeah. I mean, it's as you say, like, it's feasible. Like, it always used to be feasible that if, say, like a Milenkovic scored and Chris Wood scored in a 2-0 win, then like the clean and the goal from Milenkovic equals the goal from Wood anyway, plus or minus whoever gets the first goal, I guess. That 3. But
Wood gets the shot on target now.
But so does Milenkovic.
Oh, yeah, it does. That's a good point. Yeah, he does.
But
that equals out.
Yeah. But Wood will take more shots. Well, no, Wood doesn't take more shots, does he?
Doesn't really. Only gets one shot.
Maybe Milenkovic is better in that situation. Maybe he is.
It's just... So, yeah, hopefully anyone watched it realises that's why we didn't do 2 hours of going through team by team, because all we'd be like, by the way, the striker's good. By the way, the striker's good.
Yeah. And it's like, we start the pod with, like, well done, Mark, for his position change, in his own position change. Go and fix the bonus or get rid of it, basically, is the summary.
I think you could genuinely. I think there's never been a more bigger argument.
To
Just
scrap it.
get rid of it.
Incredible. On that bombshell, we'll leave it there. Back Friday, team selection.
We're back Friday, and then I'm abandoning you for a week. But you've got all-star replacements, so
Yep.
we're good.
So yeah, we'll be back. It is, you've seen already, it's Masters Week, starts tomorrow. So there'll be no podcast on Sunday. Going to be podding on Monday with Andy Andy North, Teach Mode, whatever his name is. Andy North, and he's going to join me on Monday. That's a good way to
We love
to
you,
announce
Andy.
it. Yeah, we do. And it's been way too long. Let's
Yeah, I
put the
know.
record
It's
straight.
like
It's been
first time
way
this
too
season,
long.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's difficult though, because if we pod Sunday and then need a scout cast and stuff, it's difficult. But
Yeah.
um,
But yeah, no, genuinely looking forward to getting Andy on, and he's going to join me to review the game week so far on Monday evening. So we'll do that then, and then still in the works for getting someone to do team selection. So I say still in the works. I haven't actually asked them yet, so I'll send them a message tonight, and then hopefully we'll have it confirmed by tomorrow, which would be good. Which would be good.
wonderful.
I hear Mark Southerns is free, but
He's got to stop immediately.
oh, is he
Immediately.
Immediately, is it done?
I think that's what it said. Yeah, so that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
With
Right.
immediate effect.
Immediate effect. Wow.
One of you has to go on. I mean, in the shed. So does that count as gardening leave? Wee.
Oh, that's the worst dad joke you'll hear. That is terrible.
I've got plenty.
Right. Like, subscribe, comment, do the good pod stuff as you always do, you wonderful people. And have a good game week 32. No, I say that like we're not
Mate,
seeing
I'll
you
see
on
you
Friday.
Friday.
See you Friday.
See you Friday.